copy. Please confirm.
Yes, sir. Dili ra, sir.
Good, good.
Yes, sir.
Sige. Accounts receivable, no? AR. Receivable. So by the way, guys, the standard that deals with accounts receivable is what we call PFRS. Well, mainly, no, dagan ni siya standard nga deal sa accounts receivable. Pero ang main jud nga standard is PFRS 9. PFRS 9, financial instruments, or the full name of the standard is classification, financial instruments, classification, and measurement. No? Wait lang for a while. Tama ba? IFRS 9. Full name ani is classification and instruments measurement. IFRS 9 financial instruments na siya. Instruments. Pero ang PFRS 9 actually, sakto to kong giingon nga ang PFRS 9 only deals with the classification and measurement, no? Classification. So what do we mean by classification? So classification is how would we classify or how would we present a certain financial instrument, no, in our balance sheet. So PFRS 9, no, nagalatag siya og mga provisions on how do we identify and how would we put and present our financial instrument, no, in our balance sheet, no. Namanggod na siya mag-ingon mo gud tag financial instrument, guys. So financial instrument encompasses both equity and debt instruments, no? Actually, napa ikatulo, that is derivatives. Pero I'm not gonna confuse you right now. So let's just focus on equity and debt. So when we talk about equity instruments, now they are financial instruments which represents ownership interest. So examples anak ay mga stocks, no? Either common stocks or preferred stocks. Now, debt instruments, those are financial instruments, no, which represents, no, a right, na if receivable or an obligation, if payable siya, to pay, no, using assets or cash. Usually it's cash or another financial instruments. So that's basically kung i-shorthand na to or i-summarize na to ang classification of PFRS 9. So basically nga na. But it's much, much more deeper than that. It also talks about measurement. So when we talk about measurement, guys, of course, natay duha ka measurement, diba? Natay initial measurement and natay subsequent measurement. Okay. So initial measurement, diba? How do we measure accounts receivable, no, upon initial recognition? And what we say about when we talk about subsequent measurement, no, after initial recognition, now how would we measure accounts receivable in our balance sheets? Okay, so diba, subsequent measurement of accounts receivable, diba, if there are estimations on uncollectible accounts, no, those are considered, no, sa ato ang subsequent measurement. Kanamang allowances. Of course, that's the main allowance that we're going to be recognizing, but there are other allowances such as allowances for sales returns and allowances for sales discounts, what else? Kana, etc., etc. Okay. Now I'm gonna stop dilly-dallying on PFRS 9. By the way, guys, PFRS 9, I will be discussing this standard again. Actually, this standard will be the bulk of our discussion in ACC 107. So that's why maglaan jud kog isa ka subject just for this standard alone, because it's quite a very deep lawom kay siya nga standard, guys. So medyo ano po siya, medyo complicated po siya nga standard. And one of the items, or one of the accounts na which is in scope of the standard is accounts receivable. Accounts receivable is kind of okay lang, no, compared siya sa uban nga, no. So it's kind of the most basic financial instruments in terms of financial assets, no. Okay, now let's define, no, definition. So of course, ano sa ta, no, when we start our discussion, let us first define what is an accounts receivable. A definition. Define AR. Okay. Sige. So, accounts receivable, or sorry, receivables lang sa, no? Receivables lang sa. Kay daghan man og klase nga receivables, no? Define receivables. Natay daghan ni pang define later. So receivables, no, in general, no, it is a financial asset, guys. Okay. So when we say it's a financial asset, no, it di ba asset, so it represents a right, no, right ni siya, no. Actually the full term here is the contractual right, or contractual right to receive cash, no, di ba? Receivable, the contract there is, if accounts receivable, the contract there is the contract of sale, or just the delivery, no, of the sold item, no, that's a contract. So you, upon delivery of the item that you sold, no, you have the contractual right to receive payment, and that payment, no, usually is through cash, no, contractual right to receive cash, and or cash or other financial, FA na lang abot na ha. Kasi FA ba din siya. Other or cash or other financial assets. FA na lang doon ako sa natin na kayo. FA here, guys, is financial assets. So not only you have the right to receive cash, you may, no, kay or hand at the end, you may also have the right to receive other financial assets. Okay. Now, account or receivables, na again, in general, okay, can be classified. No, actually, daghan siya og classification. No, natay two kinds of classification. Pwede na to siya matunga into two. So, accounts receivable can be classified either as, no, pwede na to siya ma-classify as current receivable, or pinakasimple na to anak kay short term, or it can be classified as a non-current receivable, no, or what we call long term. Okay. Sige. Now, can I go to the next page, or can I erase this one? Naka-follow pa ka mo, guys? Okay, mag next page na ko. Naka-follow na ka mo, ani, guys? Current.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
I'm gonna
yes.
go to the next page. So let's go first to current. Okay. So by the way, guys, no, mugawas siya sa exam. I remembered I put classification, no? Sige, current. So an accounts receivable, no, is classified as current, or what we call short term, no? If actually it would depend, no? Kay depende kung unsa sa klaseng receivable. Let's go first to trade receivable. Trade receivable. So what do we mean by trade receivable? Receivable. Trade receivable. So mag-ingon ta guys, no, trade receivable, no? These are receivables, no, arising from the normal or arising from sale of merchandise, no, sale of goods or services. Or another term for this one is, no, it is a receivable which arise from ordinary course of business. Course of kasi kani nga ano yung pen volta be of business. Paano siya mag-edit ani sa ano? Kana. Okay. So makalaro lang. So trade receivable siya if sale of goods or services arising from ordinary course of business. Okay. If trade receivable siya guys, we are going to be classifying it as current. Now current siya if receivable siya. Madawat nato siya within 1 year. Or what? The length of the operating cycle or during the operating cycle whichever is longer. That's the keyword guys longer, because sometimes I see students answering whichever is shorter. So whichever is longer ato ang tanawon. Again guys, if it is a trade receivable, no? Again, trade receivables are those receivables arising from sale of goods or services, or another term for that is it arises from the ordinary course of business. Example ani, pinaka-perfect na example ani sa trade receivable is accounts receivable, no? Because accounts receivable, no, it is a receivable which is recognized, no, upon sale of goods or services. Again, maklasify lang nato siya as current if ma-receive nato ang receivable within 1 year or within or during the operating cycle, whichever is shorter. So what is operating cycle? So usually mga good guys, an operating cycle would go over 1 year. So ang operating cycle, no, it is the cycle in which more or less ang operating cycle guys magsugod siya from purchase of the item. So purchase until purchase collection. So purchase meaning pagpalit na to sa materials, no? Pagpalit na to sa material, nya gi-produce na to siya. After na to produce, na to siya gibaligya. Pagbaligya na to, siya gi-collect. So sometimes, that cycle would go over 1 year. A perfect example of that operating cycle, which is longer than 1 year, is for installment receivable. No? Sometimes, no, an installment AR or a receivable that arises from installment sales. Ang example ana guys kay if kanang seller ka cellphone or iPhone be, di ba? When you sell an iPhone, di ba na siya mga scheme or na siya mga I'm not sure what's the proper term, but naano siya kanang murag plan, di ba? Plan, which which sometimes go over 1 year. So sa kana klase nga style of business, guys, their operating cycle would go over 1 year. So those receivables from sellers of cell phones now would still classify their receivables as accounts receivables and current receivables, even though they are going to be collecting them for more than 1 year, no? Because their normal operating cycle is longer than 1 year. Because, diba, usually, no, phones are expensive and are most of the time collectible in installment, and kanang installment no would go over 1 year. Di ba? Usually anak ang mga 2 years or mga 3 years ng mga loan sa cellphone. Or 9 months, 12 months, pero na po yung mga 2 years or 3 years. So I hope na nag-gets na siya, murag medyo naka-relate mo, naka-gets mo na if we describe it in a way or describe it kana sa cellphone. So kana, those are trades still current receivables even if they are collectible for more than 1 year, as long as the operating cycle is more than 1 year. Now, of course, non-current, guys, off siya. Non-current lang current pa tanaw. Pero basically, guys, when we classify a receivable as non-current, no, it is simply defined. Later on, I will be discussing it again, but discuss ko na lang karon. Just an introduction. So basically, ang gist sa non-current receivables is that if it is not within the definition of a current receivable, it is a non-current receivable. Now, similarly, now we define what we call non-trade receivables. So non-trade receivable, guys, no, are claims arising from sources, no? Sources other than from sale of goods and services. So example of non-trade receivables, please take note. Advances, officers and employees. So those are receivable, no, kaya pakuha man nimo sila, pero these are non-trade receivable. Advances to officers, employees. Advances to subsidiaries. So what we mean by subsidiaries, no? Subsidiaries are entities or businesses which are in controlled, no? Nakaka-control. So example, si A company, no, owns 100% of the stocks of B company. So if ingana, di ba, kung si A owner sa 100% sa stocks ni B, meaning ana si A controls everything that B or everything no that B operates. Tanan niya gina-operate, tanan niya mga desisyon na I say si A because A practically owns B. So ang tawag ana silang relationship is parent-subsidiary relationship. Si A is the parent, si B ang gina-control is the subsidiary. So muna siya ang subsidiary. Again, so basically, another term for this one is or the blanket term or ang umbrella term, blanket or umbrella term ani sa subsidiary, it's one of what we call a related party, no? Related party. Na relationship si A company kay B company. Ang tawag nila si A si parent, si B si subsidiary. Another examples of related parties, no, um are our associates. Later on in ACC 107, we'll talk about investments in associates, and other related parties are those what we call um, invest tawag ana associ- joint ventures, no, if they are co-owned by someone. So another example of non-trade receivable, div- uh, dividends and interest receivable. Dividends and interest receivable, guys, although very common receivables, um, these are still considered as non-trade receivable. But of course, no, they are usually current receivable because dividends are paid shortly upon declaration, and the interest is usually paid monthly. And if not monthly, it's always paid within 1 year upon accrual. Number four, deposits. Number five, um, claims. Daghan siya claims. Insurance, tax refunds, lawsuits, damaged merchandise. This is one of the important here. Damaged merch. Because sometimes if the question would ask how much is the trade receivable, some students would include the claims for damaged merchandise as part of accounts receivable, which is a trade receivable. However, claims for damaged merchandise or lost in transit or returnable merchandise are considered non-trade receivable. Okay? Sige. Again, claims, guys, example for this one, another is insurance, tax refund, and lawsuits. So basically, again, these are not arising from the ordinary course of business, but they arise, no, example from claims for lawsuit, no, nakagikiha and nadaog ka, and part of the conditions or part of the, not really reward, but mo na siya ang isa sa gihatag sa imuha upon winning the lawsuit is, no, an amount, say for example damages, no, claims for damages. So those are considered as account or non-trade receivable. So can I go to the next page? Nasulat na ninyo? Sige, I'll wait for 1 minute. So please do take down notes. Sige. Alright. So, ari pa to sa non-trade, sa current, guys, sa non-trade. Now, again, ang pinaka-importante jud diri, guys, is when do we classify a receivable? If trade receivable siya, kano sa nato siya i-classify as current. Tanda kani, guys, tandain ni siya. Kani specifically. Okay? So I go to the next page. Now, wala pa na ako na-discuss. Now, if it is a non-trade receivable, we classify this one as current. Ma-current ni siya, guys, if it is collectible or receivable within 1 year. That's 1 year only. So wala na tayo operating cycle because, again, non-trade, these are receivables not arising not from operations. So the operating cycle is disregarded. So what we put here, the length of the operating cycle notwithstanding. So um walay effect ang length sa operating cycle for non-trade notwithstanding. Again, non-trade receivable, we classify it as current if it is collectible or receivable within 1 year only. No? The length of the operating cycle notwithstanding. Okay, so I guess that's the background for accounts receivable. So going to the next topic. So another special discussions, no, if there is a credit balance of accounts receivable, no, if na ito credit balance atong AR, these are considered similar with cash, guys. These are considered as payable. No? More or less, those are advances from customers. Okay? Sige. Now, let's go to measurement. Okay? So we started off with definition. Now let's go to initial measurement. So how do we measure receivables initially? Measurement. Okay. So in general, guys, no, accounts receivable or financial assets, butang ko dire, financial assets, sige, AR na lang, no? Later na ako mag financial assets, ay. So conceptually, accounts receivable is measured, no, at what we call transaction price. So transaction price. Basically, no, if mag-ingon tag transaction price, guys, kung if it is a contract of sale, your transaction price there would be the selling price less any mga variable consideration, but basically it's just the selling price. So kung unsa ang selling price, di ba, that will be your initial measurement of accounts receivable. Another one, no, transaction price, no, is usually also, di ba, kung mag-ano ta, di ba, kung accounts receivable ta, no, there is what we call a contract of sale, no. And if there's a contract of sale or contract of service, ang item magibaligya nato, no, more or less these are sold at what we call market value or fair value. So pwede po nato ma-define AR is are measured, no, at fair value. So ang pinaka-complete ani guys, accounts receivable is measured at fair value, which is similar to or equal to transaction price, FVPP. And of course, if there are any costs, no, plus transaction costs, PC. EC is equals to transaction cost. So what are examples of transaction cost? So example ani guys kay if you are a seller and you sold, no, inventory, so nakay sale, ang shipping term is FOB shipping point, no? If you're familiar with FOBs na guys, familiar na ba ka mo sa shipping terms? Shipping terms guys. Sorry. Yes, okay, good. Good. Sige. So if mag-ingon tag FOB shipping point, who is the owner gani? FOB shipping point. Isang owner guys. Isang owner is FOB shipping point. Who is the owner? Si seller or si buyer? Split ang nag-answer na yung nag-answer buyer, na yung nag-answer seller. O na nag-seller? Seller? Seller? Sure mo? Sure mo? FOB shipping point guys. It's ang owner guys sa shipping point. Si buyer. 'Di ba? FOB destination, the ownership of the goods will only transfer upon arrival of the goods at the destination. So therefore, FOB destination, the owner is the seller. No, kay mubalhin naman siya ang ownership upon receipt of the buyer sa goods. Now, when we talk about shipping point, the ownership or the risk of losses, no, that's part of being the owner, transfers to the buyer upon shipment. Meaning, the moment na mugawas ang ato ang shipping container or atong shipping van sa ato ang warehouse, paggawas ana niya, the title immediately transfers to the buyer. Okay? So that's FOB shipping point. So going back to what I'm mentioning, which is transaction costs. So di ba, part of our cost of transaction upon kung seller ta guys is, di ba, natay sometimes na ginagasto freight out. Familiar mo freight out guys? Freight out. Freight, di ba natay freight in and natay freight out? Mag-ingon tag freight out, it is a cost by the seller, no, upon shipment of the goods na for sale, nga nang baligya. So ang freight out, kung i-recognize nato siya, no, that is just a selling expense. However, if it is not our obligation, meaning kung dili na to obligation nga magpa-ship, similar to shipping point, because diba ang magasto ana sa shipping point kasi buyer naman, no, pero what if kita ang nagasto, so kana is part of our transaction cost and shall be included as part of our accounts receivable. Later on, just to clarify this one, no, later on I'll be giving you a summary table on how to treat accounts receivable, no, kanang and how to recognize or how to account for FOB shipping point, FOB destination, and also what we call freight prepaid and freight collect. Okay. All right. So what else can I add for initial measurement of AR? Sige. I'll try to find an example here, just for us to have a discussion on AR initial recognition. Let me check. Mhm. Okay. Mhm. Sige, later na lang. So let's go over first with um, subsequent measurement. Now, before ta mag-discuss of other items relevant to the measurement of AR. So let's go first to concept subsequent measurement. Okay. And again, guys, when we say subsequent measurement, so basically, um, how do we measure accounts receivable in our balance sheet? No, upon yeah, kana upon presentation of presentation and measurement at year-end, no? Meaning kung usa sa ato ang financial statements or FS. Okay. Now, guys, we will be diving in this one a bit deeper in the next meeting. But for now, I will just going to be discussing with you guys this straight up what is the subsequent measurement of accounts receivable. So accounts receivable is subsequently measured at what we call no in net realizable value, NRV. NRV. Okay. So kung Bisaya una to guys ang net realizable value, when we say realizable, collectible, no? Another term for that. Realizable is collectible. So basically, we measure accounts receivable subsequently on how much do we expect, no, to collect from the customers. Sir, nga no sir, di ba sir, niingon ka na you have the contractual right to receive such amount. Diba? Kung 100,000 ang AR, 100,000 yun mong makolect. Not in a perfect world, diba? Because, no, of course, there are some delinquent payers. Sometimes they don't pay their dues, or sometimes they they pay but not pay the 100% of the receivable. No, they just pay partially and wala na sila nagparamdam, diba, na yung mga inana. So, of course, no, part of conservatism concept, no, and of course, as stated and as required by PFRS 9, we should write down or we should give an allowance for those events. Okay, so what are those events, no, or how do we compute for net realizable value? So NRV, guys, don't worry guys, I will be diving into NRV much deeper. Hopefully na natin libro next week guys. Inayo na natin libro guys kay mas makaano jud ta. Mas nindot atong discussion ko na libro. Anyway, I'm gonna stop crying about that. So AR. So ang AR meaning face amount, no? Well, how much did we initially measure it? So NRV, and of course as what I've said, kung unsa ang mga things nga gapagamay sa ato ang receivable or pabuhin sa atong makulit. An example of that is what we call an allowance for doubtful accounts. DA na lang ko sulat guys sa allowance for doubtful accounts. So we have to account for any estimated uncollectible receivables. So we have to deduct those uncollectible receivables. Another item which reduces our accounts receivable are sales returns. So sales returns, no, allowances. So of course, there are times wherein naatay mga warranty nga gi-provide or naatay gi-provide nga period in which the customer may return the items, no, kung dili siya up to their specifications or naabay damage, blah blah blah, so na-result siya sa returns. Of course, napud tayo gi-set up na allowance ana. Kani guys, ang mga allowance, by the way guys, no, just to give you another thing to remember is that allowances, I think you're all nanamoy just put ani or na-feel na dyan ninyo mga allowances. Allowances are only estimated. Gi-estimate lang na nato guys sa mga allowance, di ba? Kung usually, di ba, if you remembered, kung mag-compute ka mo sa allowance for accounts, for doubtful accounts or allowance for bad debts, ang basis ninyo kay percentage of accounts receivable or percentage of net sales. So nag-percentage ka lang, pero dili jud siya actual. So ang tawag nila mga estimates. Now, since it is an estimate, just to chika na lang, mga estimates manggod guys, di ba ang point manggod sa atong FS and point po sa audit, no, is that when you see the FS, the information there should be accurate. So how can we say that the FS is accurate wherein we have wherein naman tayo mga estimate, dili na lang ta mag-provide og estimate? Wrong. So estimates usually are based on past experience, no? Past experience. O kung based yung past experience, ang sale ninyo this year, sa mga previous years ninyo, namoy mabantiyan nga mga 1% sa previous year na to nga sale kay wala nato nang kolekta. So based sa kanang experience nato, nag-set up ta og allowance sa ato ang receivable, allowance for doubtful accounts nga 1% sa ato ang sales annually will be recognized as doubtful accounts expense or will have an allowance for doubtful accounts. So pinaing-ana siya guys when we say what is the basis for estimates, and those estimates are acceptable in the standards. Actually we have a lot of estimates, but of course if we have estimates, we have to prove in our financial statements that our estimates are reasonable. Di ta mag-ingon niya accurate, reasonable lang siya. So kana. So gina-document na siya nato sa atong notes to financial statements. Okay. So same with sales returns. So magabase ta sa atong experience nga how much of our sales will be returned to us. So based on our past experience, we set up allowances for sales returns. Similarly, we also have what we call allowances for discounts. Okay. So allowances for discounts would be based on our historical or ato ang past experience wherein how much of our sales or how much of our customers or how many of our customers and based on their sales value, kinsa ang mga customer nga ang mo avail and how much will they avail the discount. So kana ingana yung i-prove, when you are going to be measuring in real life, no, measuring allowances. Another allowance is allowance for free charge. It's not dili kay siya common ang kaning allowance or free charge. And this is how you compute your what we call net realizable value. Okay. So, any questions so far, guys? Before we move on to the next point of our discussion, do you have questions? Okay, sige. So let's proceed to the next part of our discussion. I'm gonna stop my sharing sa ako ang screen. Okay, so I'm gonna share a PowerPoint which I will be sharing later. Oh, okay. Sige. So this is just another, I don't know, another version of what I've discussed, but it's not totally the same. But basically, another presentation about accounts receivable. So nag-present ko ani because there are examples, no, mana siya mga illustration on transactions with regard to accounts receivable. So kana. But let's go over this first, no, in case we have missed something. So accounts receivables. So receivables, blah blah blah. No, they are claims against customers and others for money, goods, or services. No. Ang duha jud nato ka main receivable. No, and of course we will be discussing this one, accounts receivable, and this notes receivable. We kind of discussed this one on notes payable sa Phil 124, but this one will be the heart of our topic, which is accounts receivable. And basically, the difference between the two is that accounts receivable, actually it's not really oral, but ang notes receivable, there is what we call a promissory note. So it's usually and 100% written, no? Always, na I'm not saying, ibawi na kung usually, it's always written. So, na-din siya instrument na ginatawag nato ang notes receivable. Whereas accounts receivable may be oral, no? But of course, in our day and age right now, no, if you have an accounts receivable, no, it's almost always gonna be written. Of course, evidences of accounts receivable are mga delivery documents, mga shipping documents, mga sales documents. So if you sold something to someone, so of course, no, there is an account receivable and that is evidenced by a sales invoice. Okay? Okay, so another one, I'll be sharing this one later, ha? So you have another note here, no, kung unsa ni siya mga other examples for non-trade, but I think these are just the same. Okay, para lang siya. So non-trade di sila guys, ha? And mo ni silang ma-confuse sa mga students most of the time kung asa ni siya ipang-classify. Again, even if it is goods siya guys, goods. Ang ano mga guys, for makakita ang mga students most of the time goods nga word, they would immediately conclude that this one is a trade receivable, but it's a claim, no? Claim ni siya for the lost or damaged goods. So these are not claims, no, in the ordinary course of business. Okay, so here or this slide, adungan lang ko ninyo guys, no? Okay, wala ko lang yun. So this slide represents, or this slide illustrates where non-trade receivables and trade receivables, no, are presented in the financial statements. So kani, so trades and other receivables, no, are part of current assets because again, usually magod mag-ingon ta og trade receivables, no? These are in the ordinary course of business and classified as current, no, if they are collectible or receivable within 1 year or within the operating cycle, whichever is longer. And other receivables, no, other receivables are non-trade receivables, and they are presented as current if they are collectible within 1 year only. So the length of the operating cycle, no, doesn't matter, no, because if you say non-trade receivable, you disregard um, the operating cycle. Okay, account receivable net of allowances. Okay. So, kana. Okay, so salient items no in accounts receivable. So mga trade discounts. Okay. So if you are familiar, if we discussed this one actually last time, but that time we discussed it in PPE. No, wala pa nila ako na mention di ay. Di ba? Di ba natay duha ka klase nga discount? Remember? Di ba? Naka-remember ka ba? Natay duha ka klase nga discount. Natay trade discount and natay cash discounts. Hmm. So ang usually trade discounts are offered to customers, no, for quantity, for large quantity orders. Then as what I mentioned also sa PPE nato ang discussion, for trade discounts, no, reduction sila sa list price, di ba? List price minus trade discount would be our invoice price. Okay. Take note of this one, guys. This is the most important item here. If trade discount, tandaan, trade discount, it is not recognized in the accounting records. Hopefully, we have a transaction here. Wait lang. Wala. Sige. Since wala man, I'm gonna simulate a transaction for a while. Mag-open to Excel. Sige. Ang i-share na lang na ako akong screen pod para di na ako mag-Excel. Can you see my screen? So again, guys, just to illustrate trade discounts, not trade discounts. Trade, so by the way, don't worry, no, wala ko'y problems sa atong exam, no, but just to illustrate, since we're na naman ta dire, trade discounts are, example, mo na siyang pag-express, guys, sa problems sa trade discounts. So it has a trade, butang nato, it has, you sold goods, and it has a trade discount of, ay, sige, trade discount ako, wala po selling price. So in list price, now list price item kay 100,000. Now, niingon na I trade discount nga um duha ka trade discount na atong na-avail sa Paul. Kung duha ka trade discount na atong na-avail, niya na si problem nga 80% and 80% ka trade discount. So, how would we express this one and how do we record it in our books? Okay. So, kung mag-9 ing ani, so first we get the invoice price per list price. So kung mag 80%, 80%, so you simply multiply this 100,000 by 80% and 80%. So 100,000 times 0.8 times 0.8 guys, pila man? 64. 64,000. So this 64,000, this is what we call the invoice price. Please go follow guys ha. This is what we call the trade discount. And again guys, as what I've mentioned just a while ago, and I've also mentioned this once ato ang discussion sa PPE, trade discount are ignored in the books. So therefore, when asked how do we record this transaction, we actually don't record the 100,000 but we only record the invoice price. So our journal entry here would be account receivable 64,000 and sales 64,000. Now, when we talk about cash discounts, guys, which is this is paid in or this is granted, sorry, not paid. This is granted to customers for prompt payment, no? Payment. So usually ang cash discount, makita na siya sa terms in receivable, example like 210 and 30. So mag-ingon tag 210 and 30, there is a 2% discount if the customer paid within 10 days. However, the real due date of this receivable is only 30 days. So given this transaction, if this 64,000 or this transaction nga 100,000 is also subject to a cash discount of 210 and 30 or 2% if paid within 10 days, now, of course, it would also be or it would now be recorded. Now, as opposed to trade discount, it will be recorded. So if na-taste discount and say for example, what not kanya to original entry, niya pag-avail na to pag-avail nila sa discount, so naka-receive ta og cash, pila itong nadawat na cash guys? If na ay 2% discount, pila itong nadawat nga cash if na ay 2% discount? That's 62,720. So that is 64,000 multiplied by 98%. Am I correct? 64,000 times 98%. No, would it result to 62,720? Okay, I trust you guys. Wala ko i-calculate. 62,720. So ang AR nato would still be 64. Say for example, karon pa ta nag-record of discount. So mag-record ta og discount on sales discount. Sorry. Discount on sales na lang. Joke, sales discount. So pilang discount ani guys? 64 minus 62,720 or 64 times 2%. 1,280. So basically, ang ana siya ang difference between the trade discount and the cash discount. Again, trade discount is ignored, cash discount is considered. Okay. Right. So, mag-stop ko og share and I'll go back to the PowerPoint slide. All right. Can you see my screen? Kita ninyo ako? Okay, kita ko na po. Sige. So to continue, so recognition of accounts receivable, guys, cash discounts or sales discount, bago lang doon ako naingon. So these are granted for prompt payments. Another term for this one is sales discount or pwede po nato siya matawag as prompt payment discount. So of course, if you're already familiar with this one, yung basic accounting, natay duha ka accounting for accounts receivable. Natay ginatawag na gross method and natay ginatawag na net method. Okay, so basically guys, if we say gross method, we record our accounts receivable at face amount or in full. So kung 100,000 ato ang accounts receivable, 100,000 atong i-record under gross method. Mag-record lang tag allowance. Nya, under net method, kung ang 100,000 na to na accounts receivable, naapay subject pa siya sa 2% na discount. So na 2,000, di ba? So 98K. So ang net method, ang pag-record nato sa receivable is at 98. So gross 100K, net 98. So that's just to illustrate, no? Okay, so here is a comparison. Okay, since fill in the blanks, no? I'll give you guys a minute to check, no, or to fill in the blank. No, just put it, or you may open your mic, or you may comment it in the chat box, no, kung unsa ang recording nato aning transaction under the gross method. So the first transaction is sales of 10,000 and the term is 210 and 30. So 10,000, no? Nya ang 2% ka 10,000 is how much? I think that's 200, no? 2% of 10,000 is 200. So under the net method, ginet na nato siya. Meaning, AR is recorded net of the 2%, meaning 98% na lang siya. So accounts receivable at 98% is 9,800 credit sales. Okay, now what's our entry under the gross method? What's our entry, guys? I-check na kung exam dahil guys kung naaba ko'y na-miss out na wala na-discuss so that we can go over our quiz 1. Aron natin yan, no? Na-discuss na to siya. Dali lang ha. Check na ko akong gisend kay Sergio Carlo for a while. Sige, pag i-analyze ang tanang transaction, guys. May taon sa akong exam. Okay. Kita ko na. So, all right, I got the exam, so I continue. Say, accounts receivable, credit, sales. Not very good. So next transaction, payment. No? Of the 4,000 or 4,000 out of the 10,000 was paid within the discount period. Okay. So how did we come up? Can anyone here no find out why this number is recorded? This amount is recorded. Ganong 3,920 guys. 4,000 na na-collect. Ganong 3,920 lang man siya guys.
Nasulod sa discount period, sir.
Okay, correct, no? Nasulod siya sa discount period. So this is just basically 4,000 times 98%. Okay? So that's 3,920. Now, under gross method, what's our journal entry? What's our entry for this one under the gross method, guys? I joke for to. Uy, ma'am, kung saan mo ginagamit, ma'am, anong abi na mo minimog first pata nga number. Ang kay Rachel, I think this one assumes the whole amount was collected. Take note, Rachel, we only collected 4,000. So it's not 9,800. So it's still 3,920. No? Pero unsang pares. So of course, under the gross method, di ba? Under the gross method, kaning 4,000 na AR, we originally recorded it as 4,000 pud gihapon, di ba? So of course, since nabayad naman ni siya, kung nabayaran ni mong AR, unsay entry nimo, di ba mag-credit ka og AR 4K. Now, since kaning 4K is subject to 2% discount, so kaning ang makolek lang nimo is 98% and that is 3,920. So sure na ka nga nakay-debit sa cash nga 3,920 and naka-credit sa AR na 4,000. And the difference between the two is what we call sales discount. So, correct, no? Debit cash, 3,920. Debit sales discount, 80. And credit AR, 4,000. Now, next is payment of the 6,000 on sales received after the discount period. Okay, since it is after discount period na naman, so you are not, or the customer is not entitled to the discount anymore. Under net method, guys, since we recorded it as net already, we have to adjust the accounts receivable because the 6,000 no will not be subject to discount anymore. So himuon na to, we restore the 2%. 6,000 times 2% is 120, 120. If you take note, if iti account na to ang AR, nag-recognize ta og 9,800, nakakolect ta og 3,920, nya since dili naman ta entitled, pila ni siya? 9,800 minus 3,920, pila guys? AR ni siya nga ti account. AR na siya. Unsa ni siya? Pila man? Pila? 5,880 debit. 5,880. Now, since this 5,880 is not yet anymore entitled to discount, so himuon na to siya, i-restore na to siya, balik to the remaining amount na receivable jud. So 5,880 nag-debit ta og 120. So 5,880 plus 120, it will go to, or it will result to 6,000. So that's why 6,000 atong i-credit dire, because basically we just restored it to its original amount. So to restore it to its original amount, debit AR, credit sales discount, and since na-collect naman nato siya, debit cash credit AR. For or under the gross method, guys, what would be our journal entry? Correct, no? Debit cash, credit AR. Very good. Okay, so let me go to the next one. Okay, sige. Let me revisit the ano ha. So ang mugawas, guys, sa exam na concepts for accounts receivable, take note, is presentation, meaning if current ba siya or non-current. Take note, guys, ha, if current ba siya or non-current. So please ko study if trade receivable siya and non-trade receivable. Okay, na-discuss ko na. Hindi na ako mag-ingon kayo. Specific na kayo siya. What are included in trade receivable or non-trade receivable? Okay. So how do you measure accounts receivable? So please na lang ko note initial and subsequent. I'm not gonna say if it is the question is about initial measurement or subsequent measurement, but please do study both. 31, which is ganun gibasa ako. Hapit na. What are the items which okay, AR journal entries. Okay lang na siya. AR journal entries lang na siya. Ang question. What are items which reduces or makakredit sa AR? So I'm gonna be putting that one also. So maghimo og T-account and please ko familiarize sa T-account na kung unsa ang mga items nga maka-reduce sa AR and maka-add sa AR. Basically classifications. Okay. Okay. So another thing di ay guys, no? For real estate installment, di ba what I've said ganina is if phone siya, even though it's collectible beyond 1 year, it will still be regarded as current, di ba? However, guys, if it is a real estate installment, di ba? Kung di ba mag-ano tag real estate, usually real estate are very expensive. And ang terms usually for real estate installment sales, di ba, kung wala pa man kamo kapalit og balay no, usually ang terms ana guys is 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So that's very beyond operating cycle na. That's beyond operating cycle na ang mga real estate sales. So therefore, even though it is within the ordinary course of business, no, we follow the non-trade receivable rule. Meaning, we present real estate installment sale as current if it is collectible within 1 year, and we present it as non-current if it is collectible beyond 1 year. Okay? That's only applicable to real estate installment sale because usually it's very, very long. Taas kayo na siya ang terms, ana. Alright, so basically we have covered everything. Mag-add na lang ko og discussion for AR for a while. Kanang unsa nga mga items ang maka-add o maka-reduce sa AR. I'll be sharing my iPad screen again. Guys, please get your notes. Okay. Sige. So, the account of accounts receivable, hiwi pa dyan. Dali lang. Accounts receivable. So, beginning balance, debit, di ba? Nagkasugod ta og beginning balance. Accounts receivable, if you have credit sales, mag-ingon tag credit sales guys, sales on account, no credit sales. Natay collection, kung natay ma-collect, of course, gina-credit atong AR. If naay na return nga sales, buhiyan na natong AR. If naatay na write-off, familiar mo sa term nga write-off, guys? Familiar mo sa term nga write-off? Just to confirm. Okay. So write-off basically is when you do that when you determine or concluded that accounts receivable no cannot be collected anymore. Usually if you have a customer no which is already bankrupt or the business is already closed, so if you have a receivable from them, no you will be writing it off. Of course that's based on your judgment no and based po sa inyong policy. Of course sometimes naapakan mo collect no based sa kung napay nahabilin sa assets ni corporation upon liquidation. Pero just to illustrate basically that's the concept of write off no. Write off nimo kay you have concluded that the AR is worthless already. Okay, so another items which would reduce your AR are sales discount. Another item that would increase your AR are recovery. So recovery means if you have previously written off an account receivable, pero na-collect di siya nimo, nagbayad di siya, so your entry there actually would be a debit to accounts receivable again. No, i-restore nimo siya balik. Pero i-credit nga po nimo siya kaya na-receive man siya nimo. So another thing, another item which is added to your ER are sales discount lost. Di lost. Unsa ni siya, sir? Basically kung unsa to ganina, di ba? Remember ka mo sa entry ganina nga nag-debit ta og accounts receivable 120? Confirm lang ako, nak-remember pa ka mo. But in short term memory mo ba? Katong 120 ganina guys, ang tawag ato guys, sales discount loss. Kay wala siya na-avail ni customer. Of course, this is only applicable for net method. Okay, so another, unsa pa, dishonored notes, no? Kung na-dishonor ang notes, ibalik siya sa AR. Later na lang ito magproblema ani guys. So basically, for appreciation purposes lang siya and just complete atong notes, let's include dishonored notes. Pero basically, I won't be including this one in any assessments whatsoever. Just for appreciation purposes. And another thing, kanya na. Kana. So this is how we get our ending balance. Pero usually guys, no, ang pinaka-usual lang jud ani ay beginning balance. Ano na ko guys ha, i-highlight na ko kung unsay pinaka-common. So I want, so mga common, I want you guys to at least master the common items sa AR nga mugawas, no? Of course, naka-beginning balance. Ang collection, of course, it's always present. Ang credit sales, it's always present. Sales write-off is always present. Recovery is always present. Basically sila, lima. Muna sila ang na-adjud always sa mga AR problems, especially when we deal with accounts receivable subsequent measurement. So muna sila ang mga common items. So just please memorize or master, not memorize, master where are unsa sa mga transaction and how do they affect accounts receivable. Yeah, it's 6:30. Let's have a 10-minute break, guys. So that's it for now for accounts receivable. And I have covered everything that will come out in the exam. So reminder, it's 8 to 12 Monday. So I wish you guys the best. I hope everyone pass. Kaya perfect, perfect. Makapake. Nindot gani na. Shows how na-learn mo. Sarap. Diba? Sige. Anyway, again, let's have a 10-minute break. Let's go back 6:40. And we will be, sir, ang recovery is the same niya sa restatement of accounts written off. It's not restatement, but I think it's reinstatement. Pero basically recovery, it means that it's an account which is previously written off but was subsequently recovered or received. Nagets lang. Basta na-write off na sa una, pero na-recover na siya or nadawat pa gyapon siya. Ana siya. Sige, 10 minutes guys, 6:40. Yeah, Maron na. 6:40 and discuss na tong quiz 1, problems only. For the theories, I will just be posting. Post na kong exam dyan. Yapin na bito na ako ninyo. I-post na ako PDF copy sa exam. Okay, see you guys in 10. Bye. Mhm. Excel. Ang example on top I share. Wait na. Okay, dali lang. 30 minutes na siya guys. So we can, hopefully. Sige. Tool. Can you see the Excel sheet now? Snipping tools na ako. So please, if you have your quiz now, you may check. All right. So actually, this first question, we have already discussed this one, right? Part na siya sa module. I think different ng amounts. Okay, so let us answer. Okay. So, i-check na lang nato guys ha. And I'm just gonna be confirming with you guys if we got the correct answer. So checking account balance, the answer here is letter C. So if you got letter C, you're correct. So checking accounts, BPI, so this is included. The question is, how much is cash and cash equivalents? So both, no? Okay. So BPI is 1 million. So this is cash. Certificate of deposit. So this is cash equivalent, no? Or cash advances to subsidiary. This is a receivable. Deposits paid to utility company. The deposit, this is still a non-trade receivable. So not cash. Checking account, BDO, cash. Checking account which has a credit balance, 100,000. Since both accounts are from BDO, we may offset it. So therefore, 400,000 na lang. So asa na ta? 1 million, the 1.4 million, the 400,000 BDO. The cash on hand, so the cash on hand includes a PDC and a certified check for 45,000. So how much are we going to be including for this one? Do we include? So how pila to gi-include? Pila man. So post-dated check, exclude. No. So certified check, we also exclude, di ba? Certified checks na are already certified by the bank. No, na-deduct na siya daan. So next, cash held as deposits for sinking. Cash held as bond sinking fund. Since it is a sinking fund, no, di ba usually it is not a current asset, so therefore not part of cash. Okay, so money market balance at a mutual fund. So money market balance, no, that is included. So how much? So total na to. Checking account, certificate of deposit, or walang guys, sali lang. Okay, so dali lang. So 1.4 cash advance to subsidiary deposit paid to utility companies. Again, 900,000 and 20,000. Those are receivable. And ang BDO account nato is 400,000. Cash on hand, actually, sorry, ang certified check should be included still. Should be. So 250 cash on hand should be, diba? Ay, correct. Sorry guys ha. Diba? Certified check is not deducted to cash, no, because it's still it's a certified check. It's not deducted to outstanding check, which is a deduction to cash. So therefore, not deducted as. Okay, correct. So certified check will only, or cash on hand would only be reduced by the post-dated check. The certified check, no, gani deduction gani siya sa outstanding check, which is a deduction to cash. So therefore, it's not to be deducted. Cash held as bond sinking fund, that's a non-current asset. No, that's a non-current investment or a long-term investment. Money market balance, so that is part of cash and cash equivalents, 300,000, and petty cash fund. So wala may breakdown si PCF, so that is 15,000. So how much is the total? So you would total 3355. That is letter C. Total cash and cash equivalents. Letter C. Okay. Any question so far? Okay, none. Sige. So let's proceed to the next question. So this topic is all right. So taas siya. So here's the following questions for the next two items. Okay. The following information is made available in the current accounts of the company during the year ended December 31, 2022. The bank statement, so this is, I guess, proof of cash, no, kay adjusted balance beginning and adjusted balance ending. So the bank statement on November 20 showed a balance of, per bank, nag-show siya og balance sa 306 per bank November. Sorry, wala. Nag-show sa og 306,000 na balance. Among the bank credits in November, okay, was customer's note for 100,000. So what is this 100,000, guys? Unsa ni siya? What do you think? This is, ako na lang, B, R, E, B. The proof of cash is actually a problem, guys. Per bank, para makukita na to. So ang per bank na to, nag-show siya og balance nga 306. Okay. So unsa ni siya si, ano guys, si 100,000? Unsa tawag ano niya? Unsa tawag ano ni 100,000? Among the bank credits daw in November was customer's note for 100,000. What is this one? This is, correct, no? A credit memo. So credit memo, which is what? A book recon item. So asa man siya nato, kung mag-book recon item siya, I'm gonna be making another proof of cash for per books, ha? Para ka mabutang, per books. So it again, as anak mo, credit memo ni siya. Correct, no? Credit memo. So what is this credit memo? It is a credit memo, what? Credit memo beginning, no? beginning siya credit memo amounting to 100,000. So how do we treat a credit memo na beginning? Kung saan ni siya nato? Ato asyang i-add, no? So add siya dire. Since it is a credit memo and it was added, di ba, as what I've discussed last time, is that since it is beginning na recon item, di ba, usually recon items are adjusted in the next month. Since we are doing a recon item in December and it is a November recon item, so kaning recon item sa November, na-adjust ni siya sa December. So what we do, since it shouldn't be included in the December receipts, no, we take it out. Ato na siya tangtangon. So di ba, kung duol, reverse ang sign, di ba? Negative, positive. Apad. Okay. So continuing on, included in the bank debits daw, meaning bank debits charges or reduction, were checkbooks of 1.2 thousand and 40,000 check was charged by the bank in error against Tulse Company's account. Okay, so first, what is 1.2? This is what? A debit memo. So debit memo, the 1.2 thousand, is an adjustment in our books. So credit memo, this time it's a debit memo, beginning debit memo. Amounting to how much? 1.2 thousand. So ang ginahimo na ko guys, ako pa siya layout pa ng information. No? Skeleton pa niya siya, wala pa niya siya ma-solve yun. Pero sa reconciliation, na ginahinay na ko og build, no? Kay once we have laid out all the information, no, pwede na nato siya start ang reconciliation process. And of course, since this is a debit memo beginning, so it will affect our disbursement also, 'di ba? Nagnatay debit memo beginning and it is most likely going to be charged in the next month pa, or deducted in our cash balance in the next month pa. So therefore, we have to take out the 1.2 thousand in the December disbursements. Okay, pares-pares na. Now, this 40,000 guys, what is this 40,000? What is this? What's this 40,000 guys? Unta ni si 40K, it's a bank error. Since it is a bank error guys, no, it is a recon item in the bank. Again, if error ni bank, si bank sad mo, correct. So therefore, error. So unsa effect ani? Niyan is transaction. A 40,000 check was charged. Kung mag-ingon tag-charge, na deduct ni bangko kay company, pero sayop siya pag-deduct. So since nasayop siya pag-deduct, himuon nato sa beginning, ato siya i-add. And of course, since added man siya here, no, we have to take out the same 40,000 sa ato ang error. Okay. Also in November, there were deposit in transit, mga bank recon. Let's go to DIT and outstanding checks. Of course, I'm gonna be splitting this one into two. Natin DIT beginning and natin outstanding checks. Beginning po. How much is our deposit in transit beginning? In November, natay DIT nga 80,000 and outstanding checks nga 180. So kung DIT ta, 80,000 is added. Since this is adjusted by the bank the next month pa, we have to take it out no in the month's receipts. Kitang tango na to siya, kay dili siya proper nga araw na siya diya, dapat last month pa na siya. Ang outstanding checks nga 170 ato putang tangon. Ang outstanding checks, similarly, it should be taken out from the disbursement. So same lang siya sign, receipts different og sign. Layo, kapad, no? So kung ano ninyo, that's the easiest way in answering this one. No, but of course there should be an analysis and involved. Next is a 40,000 NSF. So what is this one? Is it a debit memo? Is it a card memo? Is it an outstanding check? It is a debit memo. So additional debit memo is, this one is bank charge. This one, debit memo, beginning paghapon, NSF check. All right, amounting to 40,000. Tama ba? 40K? Okay, I think I've laid out everything, so I'll go over everything later. So NSF check, same lang siya treatment, should be taken out from disbursement also. Right, so let's go to the next paragraph. The bank statement for the month of December showed total credits of 416. Mag-ingot tag total credits. Credits are what? Receipts, di ba? Credits are what? Again, guys, receipts. No? 416. Nag-gets ninyo anong receipts ang credits sa bangko? No? Receipts kay, again, the bank records receipts as credits and charges as debits, or disbursements as debits. So 416 and 204. Right. So question, how much is the unadjusted ending balance of the bank statement? Unadjusted bank balance. Pila guys ang unadjusted bank balance, guys? Pila? I only see one answer here. I'm not sure if correct pa. Pero pila? Can anyone here also compute other than Edward? Si Christine, 518K pod. So how do we compute for this one, guys? Diba 306,000. Sorry, dili ko ni siya in negative, positive ko ni siya. So 306,000 plus receipts of 416 minus disbursement of 204. 306 plus 416 minus 204, that's 518,000. So that's the formula. 306 minus 416 plus 416 minus 204, we get 518. Okay, to continue. The company's books for the month showed total debits. Mag-ingon tag books. Debit sa books are receipts and credit sa books are disbursement. Ending balance is 485,600. But wala tayo beginning balance, so we can the company's books, pila ang debit? 735,600. 735,600. Ato ang credits is 407,200. And ato ang ending balance is 485,600. Question. How much is the beginning balance per books? Pila ang beginning balance per books, guys, unadjusted? Right. So 197, 157, 1566. Sige, tanaw na kung anong nagka-split mo. Tama ba ang gisulat? 735, 4072. 735, 600. 735, 407, 200. 485, 600. So how do you answer this one? So basically same lang yapon, di ba? So ending balance or beginning balance is basically just what? Kung ano nimo, it's just the ending balance plus the disbursements minus the receipts. 157, 200. Oh. So another way of doing it, guys, and again, I've mentioned it to you, is that both sides should be equal. So kung zero pa ni siya, ang total sa right side sa disbursement and ending balance, ang total sa duha kay 892, 800. Now sa dire, 735 lang. Kay isa raman siya, di ba? 735 lang. So difference between the two, and again, I've said that both sides should be balanced. Kaning right side ug ang left side. So ang left side is only 735, pero ang dapat dyan niya, which is ang complete, which is right side, 892. So in order for this two to be balanced, you just take the difference. That's 157,200 and put here para ma-balance. Or, i-derive lang ninyo yung formula. If ending balance is equals to beginning balance plus receipts minus disbursements, so beginning balance would be equal to ending balance minus plus disbursement minus receipts. Paano nasad ka? Paano nasad ka? Ari ka na. Ari mo direction. Ani mo arrow. Ganina ang arrow ni mo pa dire. Arrow ni mo karon pa dire. Okay. It's 157,200. So bank debit memos daw, so DMs for December were service charges and NSF check. So I'm just gonna put here debit memos, but this time these are ending debit memos, bank charges, and NSF check. And nag-red mo siya. NSF. Right? So, okay. Okay, 16 and 24. 16, 24K. And these are additional disbursements. Right, so no problem there. All right, so last paragraph. On December 31, 2022, the company placed with the bank a customer's promissory note with a face value of 120 for collection. The company treated this note as part of its receipts, although the bank was able to collect the note in January 2023. Okay. Promissory note with the face value for 120 for collection, pero gi-record nila as collection. So it is a book error, no? Nag-record ka siya og collection daw. However, it was actually collected the next year pa. So therefore, what we do is, since we recorded it as collection already, therefore part of receipts, we take it out from our receipts. Ato siya tangtangon. Diba, 120. we correct the error. This is book error, no? Nag-advance na og record og receipts. So take it out from our receipts because it's wrong, because it's not an actual receipt pa, because it will be received in January pa, and we take it out from our cash, no? December, the company placed with the bank also with the face value, the company treated as part of its receipts, although the bank was able to collect it, correct. A check for 3960 was recorded in the company cash payments books as, all right, another book error. So this time, we recorded the disbursement as 39,600. Mo na siya tong gi-record 39,600 sa ato ang payment. However, ang actual lang niya nga payment is 3960. So how much would be adjusted, and would it be added to cash or would it be deducted to cash balance per books? What's the difference, or how much is the difference, and i-add ba nato ni siya or i-minus? Pila guys? Oh, sorry. Sorry. Added or deducted? So nag-add, na nag-deduct. So nag-deduct. Sa cash guys ha, cash balance, dili sa disbursement. $35,640 added, deducted $35,640, deducted $35,640. Kinsa maka-split sa ano? Joke din na siya. Any other answers? What do you think? Added or deducted sa cash? Kung sa man na mo, mag-ingon pag-check guys ha. Kung sa man din siyang transaction guys, ang cheque daw, ang actual nga amount sa cheque kay 3,960 lang. Pero ang nabutang sa tong libro or nabutang sa tong books or records ay 39,600. So nahimo ani guys, no? Nasubraan ta og record, nasubrahan tag record sa ato ang pagbayad, nasubrahan tag minus. Kung nasubrahan tag minus, unsaon man nato to correct it? Kung nasubrahan tag minus, i-add. Lagi. So added siya guys. 39,600. So book error, butang ko na lang book error ha. Kamo na lang identify kung unsa ni siyang book error. So it is added back. Okay. So since it affected our disbursements, so ato siya pangpangon pod sa atong disbursements. Kay dili man siya proper na disbursement. Sayo pa siyang pag-record sa katong disbursement. So ato siya adjust. Salig lang ko sa 39,600 that is 39,600? 35,640, sorry. 35,640. negative. Right? So, let's see if na-tie up na to. I think na-complete naman na ako. So, gano'n ko magtanaw. So, revisit lang nato kung na ay mga kulang. Nakikulang rin nga 40. 1515. Okay, 355. Oh. Ansa ni siya nga nung, okay, sorry. Okay. Bank error beginning. Okay, so, asa ko na sa'yo? Lang. Balikan sa nako guys sa ganong difference ni siya ang 40k. So bank statement show the balance of 306, correct? Among the bank credits in November customers note, so this note collected beginning. So purchase of credits in which the company recognized in December as receipts, correct? So 100 add to minus here, correct? Yeah. Including the bank credits with checkbooks. So one bank debits and a check which was charged by the bank on error against wholesale account. So 1, 2. That should be a book recon item. 1, 2. So this okay. Taken out. And the 40,000 was charged by the bank on error. So we added back, correct? And to restore it, this one minus ano. Pero I may not need, though I may not this game. Further, also in November, there were deposits in transit amounting to 80 and outstanding checks was 170. So 80 deposit in transits, correct. And outstanding checks, correct. Beginning, correct. Okay. Sige. Ako ang i-park sana ako ng 40. Kay basin uncorrected di siya. Kay wala mang magiingon diri nga na-correct siya. So it may be included. So bank statement for the month of December showed total credits of 416 receipts, correct? And total charges of 204, correct? So kana 722, correct. 518, correct. Alright, so, okay, wala pa ko'y ending deposit in transit o beginning deposit in transit. O outstanding or big ending ng mga bank recon items. Asa na din na? December company placed with the bank promissory note to the face value. The company treated this note as part of its receipts and a check for 3,960. Bank statement, the company's books, bank debit memos. Okay. Okay. So wala information for no? The bank statement for the month of December showed total credits. The company's books for the month of December showed total debits and total credits in a balance of 485,600. Okay, so 485,600 debits, credits. Okay, 152. Okay. So, of course, na ako na-miss out dere unsa mga ending DIT and unsang ending outstanding check. So, we have to compute it, which is also possible naman lang. But, just checking if complete ba ni siya. Okay, November deposit in transits, outstanding check. Okay, correct. Bank statement, total credits, company's books for the month of December showed total debits and a balance of 485. Bank debit memos, all right. Okay. Company placed with the bank customer promissory note. The company treated this note as part of its receipts, although the bank was able to collect the note only. So a check of was recorded in the company's cash payment book of what is the adjusted cash balance in November? That's 216. And how much is the adjusted cash balance in December? That's 375,640. Okay, correct naman. Correct naman atong answer dire, which is but we need to recon this one. No, kailangan nato siya recon. Even though tama atong beginning and ending, wala tay. Correct na atong beginning and ending, no? Nakuha na nato. Pero, no, in order to complete this proof of cash, no, we need to compute what is, although it's not part of the question anymore, pwede na to i-identify actually what are the remaining recon items. Okay. Now, so checking here, do we have credit memos? Kung ano na to, kung tanaw na to guys, kung compute na tong credit memos, basically, or sa nato ang deposit in transit. Ang deposit in transit na to guys, ay di ba, kung basically, the receipts should be the same for both bank and books. Now, ang receipts nga na-record ni book, no? Receipts. Kung mag-ingon tag deposit in transit. Ang receipts nga na-record ni books, receipt ni books kay nag-record siya og debits amounting to 735,600. Now, part of that 735,600 are adjustments, no? Ang adjustments nato would include mga debit memos nato, nga prior period debit memos. So take out nato ni siya. Included in the bank debits were cost of checkbooks amounting to 12 and 40. Wala, okay na siya. November deposits amounting to 80. Okay, insufficient fund checks. Okay. Basta mo na siya guys. Na-answer na natong So that's 216 and 3 Pero ganahan ko nga i-complete ang ang proof of cash. Okay, kailangan pa nato, actually kailangan pa i-compute ang DIT o ang OSING ending. Sige, maghatag ko niyo yung formula ni later ha. Para nato. So 735 debits, ang component nga 735 ang 100,000 unsa pa nati error, I think company ani error. So tangtangon po ni ang 120. Sige lang guys ha, ako na lang tanawa na lang siya later. Notes. This is credit memo beginning. This is 120 nga. 120 nga collection nga error. Ang receipts nato ma-adjusted should be 515 sa books. Compare na to siya sa bank. Ang na-record lang ni bank pa receipts kay the bank statement receipts na 416. Niya ang component aning 416 natay deposit in transit beginning which should be excluded and part of our nabatay receipts other ang 40K asan ni siyang 40K. Furthermore, 40,000 was recorded by toll 6 accountant December. Ay, sorry. Sayop di akong analysis ani guys. Furthermore daw, a 40,000 November insufficient fund check was recorded by Tulsik's accountant in December. So this NSF check no is um correct di ba? Correct. This is a negative 40 and negative 40 here. Correct man. Ang 40 po dere oh, charge against the bank in error. Okay, sayop ko. Okay. Ani. Further, guys, of end of 40,000 check which was charged by the bank in error against Tolsec. So ang actually ni siya, ang 40,000 was charged against the bank and error by the bank. So sayop siya ang pag-charge. So kailangan nato siya i-restore back. And to restore it back, tango nato and take out the receipts. Correct. Tama naman. Okay, di siya proper na receipts. Sige, okay na. So, sige, balik ta hapon. Kung mao na to ang deposit in transit ending, guys. So basically, compare lang nato kung pila ang receipts nga na-record ni books na for the month lang jud, excluding the errors, versus sa receipts nga na-record ni bank for the month lang jud, no, excluding the errors pod. So basically, this one is our deposit in transit. So this is deposit in transit ending. Amounting to 179. Okay. Now, another thing about receipts versus receipts. Okay. Tama. Nangnaon pa dyan ako 4G pod. Error man din siya. One nine din eh. 19. Next kay disbursements 515. So nakuha na nato ang disbursements. Okay. Now for outstanding checks, paano tong checks ni books? Asa tong checks ni book nag-record kay ang disbursement ni books kay 407. Okay. Anyway, guys, no, I'm going to be putting the solutions here. Pero basically on this problem, this is how you compute for the ending balances, no? So what you do, no, is to plot out. But I'm going to be completing this one. I-complete na ako na siya because the question would sometimes not limit you on the ending balances, but sometimes would ask you how much is the receipts and how much is the disbursements also adjusted. So in this case, since the receipts and disbursements are the outstanding checks are not, the outstanding checks and deposit in transit are not given, so you have to solve for it. So when you try or when you compute for the outstanding check and the deposit in transit, so basically, ang himuon sa ana nimo, kung mag-ingon kag outstanding checks na, di ba? Kay unsa nga mga disbursements or unsa mga check payments nga na-record ni company nga wala na record ni bank. So basically, imuhara ibangga or compare nimo kung pila ang na-record ni books nga disbursement ani versus unsa na record nga disbursement may bank. Of course, napaka ipang exclude ani sa disbursement sa books. Kaning 407, tangtangan pa nimo og kanang mga non-check payments. Kay may utang outstanding checks kay for checks register siya. So what you exclude here is for the banks, the non-check payments like this bank charge and this NSF check. Kaning 1624 tangtangan po nimo ni sa bank kay non-check ni sila. But anyway, I'll just be putting the solutions here, no? Ako siya complete because I don't want to hold you guys any longer because it's already almost 7:30. So I'm just going to be sending the solutions for this one tonight. Again, guys, pointers for the exam this Monday would be cash and receivables only. So the review of the accounting process, no? I don't want you guys, pwede ra siya ninyo nga dili sa ninyo tun-an. Okay? So, yeah. Unsa man kanang it's 50 items, I think. Kalimot bitaw ko. For a while, narabay nga nang kalimot nga na mo kay copy sa exam diri ron. Periodic exam. Sige, again guys, I will be providing the answer sheet. It's 35 plus 20. It's 55 items, no? 35 theory questions and 20 problem questions. So the content is or would revolve sa cash lang jud, guys. Basically, if naminaw mong tarong sa AR na itong discussion, pwede na kamo di mag-study sa AR. So, cash lang jud, guys. Focus ka mo sa problems, guys, ha? Because I think you guys are good na sa theory but you need more practice sa problems. So practice mo sa problems. With that, I'm going to be providing the solutions of the quiz one tonight, so that you can check for it first thing tomorrow in the morning. Okay, so sige guys, I know you had a long week, exam week, so paway sa amo tonight. So balik na sad mo ugma. Sige guys. So it's already 7:30, so I'm not gonna hold you guys back any longer. Goodbye and enjoy your weekends. Bye.